Hey everybody, MILKnEGGs here with DocToboggan, and we are mildly irritated, and today we are going to be doing a tier list from the Next Fest.
Yeah, we have a collection of about 15 games that we played about 2 weeks ago when the Next Fest was going on to give impressions of what they would be like when they're coming out. About 8 of them that I did, and then I think 7 that Milk did.
Yeah, so this tier list is going to be more of a kind of thing where we're like anticipating the game. We're not going super harsh on the critiques here, because that's not really what we do in the channel. And a lot of these are just demos, so it's not really fair to give a full assessment of the game based on just the demo. It's more of are we going to be excited to play this? Is it on our wish list? Or is it one that either needs to have some kind of changes or it's just maybe not our cup of tea type thing? So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. What we got up first?
Alright, first up is a game that I played called Ravenbound. It's build itself is a roguelike action combat. It ended up being kind of Souls-like in the combat, but the way you got your roguelike info is or mechanics is you got cards from enemies you defeated, and you had to spend magic points to like apply them to your character. And then
So is it like a deck builder, or is it just applying those powers?
you see, that's what the I thought it was a deck builder when I looked at the trailer, and it's kind of, I guess. I didn't get far enough into it to build any sort of deck, but there were abilities and cards that mentioned removing things from your collection, reshuffling them. So I think as you get further on, it's going to be a deck builder, and then you spend your mana to equip those cards that you shuffle in.
Okay. How did the combat feel?
Souls light, I guess, would be a way to say it. Souls like is a very common combat style for games these days, but this one was the same sort of dodge roll, parry, heavy attack, light attack, but it was far more forgiving than other Souls like games. So Souls light seems to be a very apt term for it.
Okay, kind of like a Horizon type game, or like a God of War.
I'd say more God of War than Horizon, but
Okay.
yeah. The real kicker that threw me by surprise was the traveling in the game. After I got out of the tutorial, it just turned me into a bird, and that's how you travel the entire world, is as a raven. There are specific spots on the map where you can turn back into a raven, and you're supposed to go. Essentially, you take the gear and the abilities that you've built up using your deck, and you fly around to the next battle you want to try to fight of varying difficulties. I imagine there's an overarching story bosses. In the demo, when I was playing, it was only like side battles. You'd go around and find another battle to fight, get your stuff, power up, go to the next one. And then that was it. It's a long demo. I probably could have played it for a good couple hours. I only gave it about 40 minutes. So I moved on to the next one, but it's fun. From what I've seen, it's fun. It was actually one of the largest demos that I downloaded, something like 60 gigabytes.
Yeah, it was a pretty big one. So where we have that in the tier? What's the verdict?
Not my favorite game. Definitely one I want to play. So I'd give that a solid A.
Okay.
In my tier list. It's not when it comes out, I will definitely be looking at it, probably get it and play it, but it's not one that I'm dying to play. Put it that way.
Okay. So not one you would maybe pay the full price for, but maybe on a sale or something?
Yeah, on a sale. And another thing to note, I guess, in general, for a lot of these demos, they seem to be going early access. If this ends up being the same, it's not one I would do early access for. It's one I would wait for the full release, at the very least.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's it for my first one, Ravenbound. Next up, we have Inkbound from Milk. You played through that one.
Yeah, another bound game. This one was a tactical RPG, turn-based, roguelite, PvE type game. It's kind of built to do multiplayer, but I didn't have a chance to really play it multiplayer. It does feel like the game is balanced more around multiplayer than single player. I really liked it. It gave you kind of a a top-down version of like Slay the Spire and other deck builders of that nature. So it was kind of cool that, but then your character also had his own special abilities that you chose at the beginning and you level it up. So it's got a whole bunch of like cool RPG leveling mechanics along with roguelike run-throughs and deck builder. So it kind of hits all my boxes. The only thing that I had in there that kind of made me scared was they already have like a season planned with it, so it's kind of like going to be a season pass game of sorts. Some games can do that pretty well, some games don't, and having that in the demo available, I don't know if you could buy it. I know that the store was there to purchase items, but if you could buy it for the demo, hopefully at least that'll carry over.
Now, is this one early access as well, or like planning to be early access?
Yeah, it looks like I don't know if it's going to be early access. On the Steam page, it just says planned release date of Q2 of 2023. So
Okay, maybe not then.
yeah, the game itself seemed relatively polished. It's probably one of the most polished, if not the most polished, game of the ones that we played, or at least that I played in Next Fest. So, because of the season thing, if it didn't have that season thing in it, this would easily be an S tier for me. It might still be an S tier because this is definitely one that I'm going to buy immediately and play the heck out of right away. The art in it is pretty cool. It's like a little kind of cutesy-ish art. I would definitely need to play the multiplayer to know if it's like for sure going to be a full price right away game. But I mean, out of all the ones I played, I think this one's probably going to be one of my tops. So I'd put it probably low S, maybe high A tier.
Okay, we'll
in the end.
Keep it up there. I know. I actually tried it for a little bit based on your recommendation. You were raving about it, and I definitely should have spent longer with it because it was kind of confusing at first, but it looked fun. I'm definitely anticipating what you think of it when it fully comes out. Maybe we can play some of that together on stream.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's going to be a good game. It feels it's a lot of fun to play. Like I said, the only reason I wouldn't put it S tier right now is because I'm concerned on how they're going to do this season and their monetization of it, because that has a pretty big impact on a lot of games like this that seem really cool, and then they hit you with this monetization stuff, and it's like, okay, well, it looks like it's just going to be cosmetic, but is it going to be cosmetic and power grab, and it's a multiplayer game? Luckily, it's only PvE, so I mean, if somebody else is super overpowered, it doesn't really hurt me all that much. But also, at the same time, I don't want to go into something where I'm going to be carried through everything just because somebody else bought a whole bunch of stuff. So it's one of those things where it's a delicate balance, and it's going to introduce just an element of concern to start with. But I'm pretty excited for the game in general.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can gauge almost immediately when it comes out to see how much that pass will affect things.
Right.
Moving on to the next one is another one I played called Bleak Sword DX. This one is actually a PC port of a mobile game called Bleak Sword, where it is a extremely low-res, think stick figure pixel type of characters, where you're doing timing-based reactions to do combat, and then, again, kind of Souls-like, I suppose, but in a extremely dumbed-down way. In a very dark and kind of spooky forest environment. And by low-res, I mean this game has about 3 colors, white, black, and red. Sadly, this one is going near the bottom for me. It's through and through a mobile game. After playing this on the Next Fest demo, I actually went to Apple Arcade, and that's where this is, and downloaded it and played it. And you know what? As a mobile game, it's pretty fun. It's very fun as a mobile game. It's almost identical to the Steam demo, though, so I'm really hoping before release they add some more stuff other than just up-resing it to 1080p and throwing it on Steam, because as it is, it's the exact same.
So I saw a little bit of this one because I did watch a little bit of the video you made for it, and yeah, it kind of seemed a little bit one-dimensional in there, and I didn't know it was a mobile game, but now that you mention it, it feels like it would be so much better on the phone than on the PC. So what would you rate this for PC, then what would you rate it for mobile?
PC, D. Sadly, it's not. I wouldn't pay money at the moment from what I saw. It's shallow on the PC. On the phone, solid A. It's each level is short. You can easily sit down, play a couple levels, get up, do what you need.
So on the phone one, is it a paid for, or is it a free to play?
It's Apple Arcade, so
right.
So technically paid.
Okay.
But polish wise, it's very nice, and even on Steam, it looks very nice. It's just so shallow on PC because it's, again, a mobile game. They slapped the DX onto it. I'm hoping maybe they add more. On the Steam version, they had what's called DX mode, which I played that as well on the video that I did. It's the only thing it is it adds some harder enemies, it seems. There was no difference in combat, no different mechanics in the first world, which is the demo only consisted of the first world. So yeah, if they add more to it, I would gladly revisit it. It's the concept itself is fun. Just as a PC game, it's kind of shallow.
Sure.
So I guess averaging the two out, I would probably put it at a high C.
Well, to be clear, we are tier making for the Next Fest demo, so I would put it wherever you put your PC.
True. And yeah, that's sadly as a Next Fest demo for PC. This one was a break for me. It's nah.
Well, I mean, even as a D tier, honestly, the ones that we put down in D tier are ones that if they have massive updates, then that could very well change things.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, if they end up fleshing out the system, making it a bit more, I hate to say it, but a bit more complicated. You have, as a character, you have two upgrades. One of them upgrades your health. One of them upgrades your, you have two slots, and you can upgrade three things. So you choose between health, attack, and defense, and that's it. So if they flesh out stuff like that, make it a bit more, maybe more combat moves, more combat itself, it could very well get a lot better. But yep, that was my second one. Not the best impression on a PC, but again, the mobile one, I went right to it and enjoyed the heck out of it on the phone. But next we have a Super Auto Battlemon, is a game that Milk played.
Yes, and I loved this game. I was surprised. It kind of looked like it was going to be gimmicky, and it really is, but in a really good way. It combined games like Auto Chess, Pokemon, and Teamfight Tactics, stuff like that. That was really cool, and it had a roguelike element to it, and I really liked it. I'm interested to see where it's going to go with the actual creature collector part, because a lot of it had to do with starting with a certain grouping, going to collect more, and then upgrading them as you went, so you could evolve them throughout the process. I liked it a lot. It's just a matter of depth for me. And with the demo, obviously, like we said before, you can't get a super far in depth in the game. If it had a little bit more information on where it's going to go toward the end, it would definitely be higher rated for me. But this is certainly a game I'm going to pick up as soon as it drops. I think I have to put this one either. Again, it's going to be another low S, high A. Probably right with Inkbound, maybe right before Inkbound.
Okay.
Maybe. And it says there's over 100 Battlemon to catch and build your team with. So it seems like it might be a little bit more expansive upon release. But we'll see where that goes. So
this one definitely approaching S, depending on maybe what they do with the collection thing.
Yeah, and also the price point. And it's going to be the same for a lot of the games on here. Most of them, we don't have an idea of how much it's going to cost coming out. So the price point's going to be up there as well. So if it's like a full, $40, $50 game, definitely not going to be S tier. But if we're looking like $20, yeah, I'll probably grab it to play on stream and stuff. The same with Inkbound. If that one probably go up to $30. I see a little bit more depth there than Super Auto Battlemon. But also, Super Auto Battlemon's not trying to be more than it is. So it's very clear about what it is, and it's very clear about how you play it. So that's why I really liked it so much, is because I went in with the expectations, and those expectations were met and exceeded.
No, it's very good for a game, knowing its own limits. If it's not trying to do too much, it definitely helps out. All right, going on to our next one, was called Boxes Lost Fragments, was a demo I played. Now, this is a pure classic puzzler. Kind of like, did you ever play Myst?
I never played
Riven?
Myst.
So, it's Myst Riven, that was a puzzler with more of a story element to it where you were exploring an island and doing these puzzles. Boxes is quite literally you are presented with a puzzle box and you need to solve it. And right up my alley, I absolutely loved this. The demo contained 2 different themed boxes. One was a railroad type of theme to it. The other was a cyberpunk sci-fi. And the goal of it is quite simply you solve the puzzles, open the boxes, move on to the next one. For me, solid A. There was no story to it, at least in the demo. They might add a story to it, which would be kind of neat. Just maybe the creator of the boxes had his own themes or reasons for making them. You could make up pretty much any story to go with a game like this, and as long as you're a good writer, you can make it seem pretty good. It's a fantastic puzzler. The puzzles weren't too hard, but they also weren't something I could just breeze through. Both boxes total through the demo that I recorded took me about 30 minutes, and that was after seeing about half of the first box be done on the trailer, which is kind of unfortunate. In the trailer they showed you how to do like the first half of one of the boxes, but to me that was a bad choice. But it was still rather enjoyable to play through.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, that's kind of your whole shtick as a puzzle game is puzzles.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, and it didn't detract from just playing it. It just made that first half kind of, oh, I remember exactly what this is and where this goes.
Sure.
Graphically, it does a lot of things that you couldn't do with a real puzzle box, and you might have seen some of our viewers might have seen other folk on YouTube doing actual puzzle boxes and trying to solve them, and those are limited by like physics and actual woodworking and what you can do. And here there was non-Euclidean physics. So one of the boxes, the railroad box, opened, for example, and a train was inside, and one of the goals was to get the train to move. And when it moved, it went through a tunnel inside the box that couldn't have been there, but it was there when I opened it. So just little touches like that made it just kind of fun to play through. I do not imagine this game will take long to play through in full when it comes out, and the price point I hope would reflect that. But for a one-time playthrough, I am very excited to play this when it comes out.
Nice. Sounds good.
Next is a game called Fabledom that you played. I have not heard much. I didn't hear much about this one.
Fabledom was probably my most anticipated of the demos I played. I knew a little bit about it. I saw another content creator do something on it, and that's kind of what got me interested in it to begin with. And honestly, that's kind of what started the whole Next Fest thing for us, is that video on this one. From what he said, it was the developers are from Fable, and they did a city builder. So this one's like a city builder sandbox, kind of a relaxed game. I enjoy those kinds of games. It kind of gives off like Majesty vibes, and also like not quite RimWorld-ish, because you don't really have that much control over what people are doing, and it's definitely not as intense as RimWorld is. Like, your people aren't gonna die nearly as fast. You still have to like get food and stuff for the winter.
But can I harvest their organs?
I don't know. I don't think so. Again, this game is definitely not catered toward adults only. But it was fun. It's a cute little game. The gameplay is pretty interesting. The art is pretty good. I enjoyed how it all kind of came together like that. I like the automatic city esque type thing. So like SimCity, where you build something and then people kind of take care of it through that. The difference on this one is it's more granular of the people. So you have like your population. They have families. They have to have houses that they can live in. Then they have jobs. So you have to have like places have people in it to work on it. So if you have 15 different places to work and only have 14 villagers, you can't have everything working at once. So the thing it was missing combat. It didn't have that in the demo. So I'm curious on how important that's going to be in the final game.
Is that
If
something
it's
that's supposed to be there?
not in the demo. It specifically wasn't in the demo.
I should say, like,
But
was that a part that you're anticipating in the game, or you're hoping it's part of the game?
no, it will be part of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, there are pieces in there that are going to be part of the game, and it just didn't have it in the demo, which is fine. Like we said, it's just demos. This one probably rating wise, I think I'd probably put it as my only S at the moment, or at
Really?
least my first S.
Okay.
This is one I could see myself paying the $40 for to play. The depth of the game, even in the demo, is pretty in depth, which city builders kind of have to be. It has a political element to it that I got to just a little bit, but again, in the demo, you just don't get to play quite long enough to do that. You have to go. So when you're playing, you pick one of the kingdoms in there. There's multiple kingdoms, and you set up a messenger system between them so that you can start getting things going between the different kingdoms, and that's how you kind of get. I believe that's how you get a marriage to go. So then you have political alliances. A lot of that was in the trailer, but not in the demo.
Okay.
So there's a lot of potential there, and yeah, like I said, this is probably the only one I would see paying a full game price for.
High praise. All right. That'll be fun to see how that shakes out and how it ends up releasing. When is it going to release, actually?
This one is scheduled for early access in Q1, so
Ooh, so
pretty soon.
Soon, okay. Hopefully.
If all goes well. It looks like the demo is actually still there, so if people want to give it a shot, it's still out there.
Okay, that's actually good to know, because a lot of the Next Fest demos were time limited, and that's something creators do every year. Is if they're not quite ready for full-on demos, they'll lock it to the time period. So it's good to know this one's still actually out there. All right, so next up is a game called Gravity Circuit. This is a well, it started out being a Mega Man clone that I played through. Almost pixel for pixel Mega Man clone. You could see where it took from Mega Man in almost every aspect, until I realized that you don't have a buster. This is a hand-to-hand combat Mega Man clone, which definitely, I guess, threw me for a loop in the sort of how I approach that kind of platformer game, where I'm used to having more of a ranged weapon. But it's something that was refreshing in the genre, because there's 19XX is another Mega Man clone that's procedurally generated, came out a couple of years ago, and that is a non-Mega Man game. This one was a refreshing, different take on it. The demo itself had 2 different missions to play through. I went through both of them. Definitely themed. Steelworks was a fire level. The other one I played through, I forget the name, was a kind of electric neon city type of level. One of the more interesting things about this was you have, in addition to your hand-to-hand combat, is a grappling hook. And I am a sucker for any game that has great movement. Sadly, they didn't really make the grappling hook all that useful for movement in this game, and I don't know if that's by design, because it's very useful for combat and throwing it at somebody, and then if you destroy an enemy using it, you can actually take their mechanical junk remains back and then throw that at another enemy, which was extremely satisfying.
Sounds like that's probably part of the game. Seems pretty fun to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's ends up what it is supposed to be, and once I got used to thinking of the hook that way instead of using it for movement, it became a lot more fun to use. This one, absolute solid A for me. I like the Mega Man type of games. I can't wait for this. I'll be buying this day one to play it.
Nice. What price point do you think you would go for?
It depends. So honestly, it depends on how long. So in Mega Man clones, there is consistently, it's a theme of the type of game. 8 to 10 bosses, and then a boss rush, and then a final world where you go toward the big baddie. If it's something like that, I would have no problem paying the $40 price point for a game like that.
Wow.
If it's shorter, then less money. I would be happy paying. It's a pixel game. It's 2D, but it's very well animated. It's very well drawn. It's not a school project level game or something like that. This is a polished game. I'm very excited to play it.
Nice.
Next up, we have Matcher. I don't even know how you pronounce that.
Matcher now hiring. It is a so that game is a match 3 game. It's kind of a PvE-ish game. I love match 3 games. However, I don't specifically care for the PvP part of the match 3 games that sometimes happens, and this one is definitely one of those games where you're not playing against people, but you're playing against a NPC. So, excuse me. One thing I like about match 3 games is setting up those big bombs that happen, but you can't really do that in these kinds of games because unless you match a 4, you don't get to take another turn right away, and the other person does. So a lot of times the computer will take the good stack, and then it kind of sucks doing that for them. I know there's a lot of people who really enjoy that, but if there's going to be like a match 3 PvP, I really like more of the like Tetris Attack, Super Street Fighter puzzle one. I don't remember the exact name of that one.
Oh, Super Puzzle Fighter.
Yeah, so where you're matching and then like you throw out like blocks on the other person's
Those
stuff.
were so fun.
Yeah, they were good fun, and that's what I like, that kind of PvP in the matcher games. But in this one, it kind of feels bad when you have like a whole bunch of stuff set up and then somebody else takes it from you, and then you not only don't get to do it, but it's like against you. And it's not really a matter of the makers of the game not doing it well. It's a matter of just that kind of playstyle is not for me.
Okay.
However, I think I'd put this at a C. It's a game that if they added less of a PvP element to it, I'd really like it because the personality of the game is really cool. I like the idea of you're being kind of a corporate boss and you're going and beating down some robots and stuff, and the like little demon guy you play as at first is pretty funny. There's a lot of really good humor in it. So really, really good writing, really good effective play because the game itself played really well. It's just that specific play style isn't one that I would play very much.
Okay. Yeah, is that one also in early access coming out soon, or?
That one is a planned release of Q1, no early access, which makes sense. When I was playing it, it seemed like it was pretty well done.
Awesome. Then hopefully it's gets well received when it comes out. Coming up, we have a game called Dust and Neon that I played. Now, this is my first, I'll just start out, this is S tier. This is my game through and through. I absolutely loved this demo.
Wow.
It is a... Oh god, how to describe it. It's a isometric top-down looter shooter with kind of twin stick controls. You play as, I think, a robot. You might be a cyborg. I'm not quite sure. The story wasn't really there in the demo. In the demo, you got to play through a tutorial level and then go to the base to upgrade and then play through like one more contract, and then the demo ended. But you play, we're going to assume he's a robot, a Wild West sheriff-type robot going through and killing other robots that are there, assaulting you on your way to the objective of the level. In one of the levels, in outside the tutorial level, the contract I did had me go through, and I had to shut down 2 different reactors, so I had to destroy the robots guarding it. And art style, it's completely Wild West. There's saloons, there's speakeasies. You're going through dodge rolling through things using your twin stick controls to shoot whatever guns that you pick up, and then you have to manually reload them. And then as you go through, you get guns with better stats. They shoot a little differently. It's a ton of fun, and it's an awesome aesthetic to the game, mixing the sci-fi robot with the Wild West. This one actually just came out recently. I haven't had a chance to pick it up and play it. I can't wait to actually to get it played. This is a fantastic game that I can't wait to play.
It's actually on sale.
Oh,
20% off.
Didn't realize it came out on sale. Yeah,
It probably won't be by the time this video goes up. It ends in 17 hours.
Oh, well, I guess I'm getting that tonight then.
It's got mixed reviews. That's interesting.
Really?
That you have it rated so highly. It's only had 84, but only 67% of the reviews are positive.
Interesting. I'll have to read through those. I wonder if... So, something I could see being an issue with this is being shallow. If the gameplay loop is exactly what the demo is, and that's it for the whole game, I could see that being a reason for those reviews. To me, that's not an issue. I still really liked it, but it would kind of disappoint me if there wasn't more to the game than what was in the demo. Like, if they didn't expand on some of the mechanics or story or loot that you can get.
Yeah, it says that it's just the price point was one person's problem. Otherwise, they love the game, and then, yeah, repetitive, so probably
Okay.
shallow. Looks like it might be on the Switch as well.
Yeah, it was coming out to multiple platforms.
Well, there you go. We might have some videos of that coming up soon.
Yep, that is, like I said, that one I loved the heck out of.
Nice.
Next up, we have a game called Raft Boat Together.
Super Raft Boat Together, sir.
Oh, super.
Specifically, Super Raft Boat Together. Honestly, so this one is an action roguelike top-down shooter. It's more of a bullet hell-ish kind of game. It's kind of weird. It's like it's a bullet hell, but it's much more obvious with its waves because it literally tells you. And it looks like it's supposed to be meant to be played multiplayer, obviously with the name, and there's spots in there to do that. I didn't do any of the multiplayer with it. I just did solo. To be honest with you, this one's okay. It's not anything special per se. I don't really like the shrinking aspect of your play area. It's an interesting mechanic to kind of throw into a roguelike bullet hell kind of game that we have tons of nowadays. So it's interesting.
So does it, like, that gives you a definite end to your run when you just run out of space?
Well, you die. I never ran out of space. You just die.
Oh.
You have hearts, and just like normal ones. The difference is like you have a raft that you're on, and then your raft can be destroyed by like sharks or various other things. Like an a-hole dolphin destroyed my raft a bunch, and then you have to build the raft back up and expand it as much as you can, and then that's where you can grab like chests and stuff that are going by. So
sounds like our playthrough of Raft.
Yeah, a little bit, except this one was a lot. There's about the same amount of shark attacks in there. Yeah, this one was a solid okay. It'll be interesting to see if they add some more. I'll probably put it at a B, because I did enjoy the gameplay. It was my style of game. It's just one of those kind of like, what's it gonna do to separate itself more than it has, which currently is like, its art style is very different. It's very colorful, so a lot of bullet hell games aren't colorful. And this one's pretty colorful, so we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I have it at a solid B.
All right. Next up, we have a game called Shadows of Doubt, which is what I played through. This one would be another one I would rate as an S game. This was an extremely fun demo and holds a lot of promise. It's kind of Minecraft-y in a, I guess if you know what the term voxel is, it's the procedurally generated block world where you can destroy or manipulate the various blocks. So it's got that blocky Minecraft sort of texture to it, with a procedurally generated world where you're solving either a string of mysteries or one big mystery. The demo, when I played, was only covering the beginning of it, where you have to locate this person. But in the game, it's a mystery game that is apparently no hand-holding. It took me quite a while to find some of the things that I needed. And I did a lot of hijinks that I probably should have gotten in trouble for, but then no guards came by, so it was fine. One of the more interesting things about it is you make your own evidence board in the game. So everything you find, you can pull up into an evidence menu and create yarn, like tacks, that you have a yarn string to the next item to connect it all, and you're supposed to use these clues to actually figure out the mystery by connecting them yourself and giving yourself notes to go through. The only reason I don't rate this as an S, and it's purely greed, is the game crashed on me pretty hard to the point that I couldn't reload the save. I was crawling through a vent to escape an apartment that I had illicitly entered to gather evidence, and I dropped down into a bathroom, and the entire game went white. I couldn't do anything, and then upon restarting, it would crash every time I tried to load the save. Sadly, that's a game-breaking bug. I do hope that was a one-off, and that's something they can fix.
Well, it's also a demo, so
it is a demo. It is, and that's why it's still an A for me. I can't wait to try it when it comes out. The procedurally generated part's really interesting to me, and the way that's built is, yes, the mystery. So my mystery of, or my case of trying to find this person is going to be the same each time, but the clues won't be in the same places each time, or the clues that I get won't be the same. I'll still have to deduce this person who might have a different name the next playthrough, but it's going to be a different way to get to that point, and that really seems fun to me. So I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, of the two that I pushed off on you because I didn't have enough time to do, that's the one I was most looking forward to playing.
Yeah, I really wish it didn't crash. I don't know how long the demo goes. I played it for a good 30-40 minutes before I got the crash, and I just decided to move on because we had other Next Fest demos to go through, and it is a shame that it ended at that point because I was enjoying it.
Yeah, and that one, the demo's no longer available, unfortunately.
Makes me sad. Next one, we have yet another zombie game.
Yep, yet another Zombie Survivors is the full title, because it does have, like, there are other games called Yet Another Zombie on there. I think there's a connection. I honestly don't know. I didn't look too much into it. I actually really like this one. This was another bullet hell game. Well, bullet heaven, because it's auto shooting. So it's labeled bullet hell, but it just depends on your definition of bullet hell, bullet heaven. But the interesting mechanic that it has that it adds to the game is that you, instead of having a single person, you can have multiple people as your characters. So you start out, you pick one, and then throughout the game when you do your normal leveling up, like in all the other bullet hell heaven games, you can pick one of another two to start with in the demo. So there's 3 total characters, but there's going to be a whole bunch more. They have spots for a bunch of them. And you can have all 3 characters who have different guns, and that's kind of your arsenal of weapons, is just having another survivor with you.
Okay.
Which is important to know, because when you're playing and you have one character, your hitbox is that one character, but when you add other characters, your hitbox becomes whatever those are as well.
Oh, okay. So kind of you trade offense for easier to hit kind of thing.
Yep. The maps were kind of, the map that I played were kind of shallow. I know this game is pretty, not early on, but they still got a lot of work to do on it. They have early access coming out not until Q2 of 2023, but this is one that I did post into their Discord because I wanted to give them a suggestion. My suggestion was to add missions to the maps, so that when you're doing the map, you're not just there trying to survive, and I get that that's kind of the game, but it'd be nice to have something else to do, like go get gas to gas up the SWAT van, or go save this survivor and bring them back to the extraction point, stuff like that.
So can you not win a playthrough?
Yeah.
You can't win, it's just survive as long as possible kind of thing?
Yeah, you can. No, it's you survive until a certain time. I don't remember what it is. It's like all the other games, like 20 minutes till dawn, you survive 20 minutes and you win. Same with Vampire Survivors, once you get to so far, you win. Type thing, and this is the same one. So, gameplay-wise, I probably put it at a higher B above the boat, but because the developers have been pretty responsive on suggestions, I put it as an A. Probably my lowest A.
Okay.
Because I really like the idea of having those missions, and they responded to my recommendation, saying that they were already working on that. So that's a great sign.
Oh yeah, vocal devs is fantastic, especially during something like Next Fest, where you're showing off what you have and you're looking for that feedback. Having them respond to the fans is really a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next we have
The weirdest game on the list.
It was weird. It's called Super Adventure Hand. Believe it or not a D. It was fun in a very, very weird way. You play as a hand. Easiest way to describe what you are is you are a thing from Addams Family. And it is a puzzle platformer. I guess a physics-based platformer. You're meant to go from the start of the level to get the coffee mug at the end of the level. And you do this by either knocking down blocks, bricks. In one of the levels, I had to go retrieve 3 different keys and drag them back with my little thumb and index finger to put it in a lock to open up another passageway to get to the mug. It's definitely a game that seems built for races. There's time leaderboards in it already in the demo. I did absolutely horribly, but then I talked to one viewer of the demo video, and he showed me a clip of somebody just launching themselves with a box past everything in the level and finishing it in about 10 seconds. It's an interesting speed game. I honestly don't think I'd pay more than like $15 for it at most.
I don't know. I'd probably pay like $5.
Yeah, it's not so it's not exactly polished. Some of the animations on the fingers made you kind of cringe that, oh, those are broken bones now. It's an interesting one. I'll put it that way. I'm going to put that at a C. I liked it more than Bleak Sword. We'll give it that. Next we have the last one you did, Path to Warband.
Yeah, Path to Warband was a good game. I liked it a lot. It is a roguelike deck builder card battler, roguelite. I don't remember too much about the meta progression, to be honest with you, but I don't even know if there was any, to be honest with you. I know that there is supposed to be, and I just didn't pay attention enough to know about that part. Most of the game itself was within the card battler part. It kind of had a auto battler like Hearthstone's Battleground type thing, but you also had to build things up. What was good about it is that when you have activation, there's a cost. So some of the higher level cards, like you have your side of the board, which consists of 8 cards, and they're all flipped down, and then they flip up, I think, either 2 or 3 to start with. I think it's 3. You flip up to 3 cards face up, and then you use whichever ones you want, and then those will stay up but be tapped, exhausted. And then once you've used all the cards, they'll flip all face down, and you'll start over again, kind of like a normal deck builder. But in this one, it has something like one of the ones that are more powerful will require you to exhaust 2 or 3 others that are active to then use it. So you have to plan around it and things of that nature. The art style was just so good. It was so 1980s, 1990s, first and second edition Dungeons and Dragons. In there, it reminded me so much of the very earliest days of tabletop gaming that I did. It's got like a super like old Diablo type style, but with a little bit crisper colors.
Oh, okay.
In there, so I love the aesthetic. I love the gameplay. This is definitely another S tier for me. I put it right underneath Fabledom. I'm very excited for this one. And I think it looks like it's going to be coming out in Q2. But the demo is still out, so if you want to play it, feel free to go out and give it a shot.
Oh, also good to know. Yeah, that's... I understand when they, like I said, when they limit them to Next Fest, but it's nice when the demos are kind of left up and it lets folks that are maybe a bit late to, hey, the Next Fest lasts a week and a half. Maybe they couldn't get to any of them at that time, but then they can afterwards. It's nice to have some of those still available.
Well, I think a lot of the games that have pretty close to finished concepts will probably have those. Like this one's pretty well finished in the concept of what it's trying to do. It's just a matter of adding content to it.
Okay.
So I think that's probably why they have it up still. Makes
sense. Last one we have up was a game I played called Wall World. This one is it was a very unique take on the missile defense type of game, or the, I guess, not quite tower defense, more more classic missile defense. So you play as a miner who's directing what's called the Spider, which is a giant mobile wall robot that crawls up and down a wall. In the demo, we were limited to how high and how low we could go. It's kind of a roguelike game in that you're meant to... Your first playthrough, you are definitely going to have your base destroyed, and then you use the money that you gathered during the round to upgrade it for your next crawl. The interesting way to get your money is as you're crawling up and down the wall, you find cracks in the wall, and then you as a miner park the robot and go mine it. So you dig through the wall and you go find minerals. But the thing is, you have a certain time limit until the next wave of enemies comes in, so you have to book it back to the ship and then use its weapons to defend it and preserve its health so you can continue up or down the wall. It's definitely an interesting take on the, like I said, the missile defense or the tower defense type of game. A lot of the upgrades for the base weren't available in the demo. There was, like, you could see them in the shop, but it was not available in the demo. So I didn't really get to play with many of the toys that looked kind of cool. But it's one that I'm looking forward to. The menu system could definitely use some polish. The demo went right from the start into the shop menu, which seemed to be confusingly the start menu. So UI I think could use a little work, but gameplay it's solid. I would give this a solid B. I'm anticipating what this one does.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. The whole crawling aspect of it. I mean, it's been a while since I played a missile defense game.
Yeah, and that's the closest I can describe it, because it's not quite... You're not putting like towers up and upgrading them along a path. It's the left side of your screen is open air, and you got enemies just coming in from that side, and you have to use essentially your base to fend them off for that wave. Mm-hmm. And there's missiles you can fire, there's turrets you can deploy, and it looks interesting. Like I said, just a little UI work, and I think it's that'll be a hit.
Nice. Well, I think that was a pretty good Next Fest. We have a lot of A tier on here, a few S tier, and then just some that we're relatively excited for, but not super. Then a couple that could probably use some work.
Mm-hmm. It's a good gamut across the board. I was very happy with this Next Fest. It's always a fun time. You get to play a whole lot of demos, and if you're into watching developer interviews during all of Next Fest, developers schedule with Steam to do live streams of their games and talk about it. So it's something I look forward to each year. It's pretty fun to see, and it gives me more items to put on my wish list.
Yes, the ever-growing Steam wish list.
I think I'm up to a good 100 or so at this point.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, that was a great tier list video. We had a lot of fun putting together the Next Fest demos. All the games that you saw here today on the tier maker are going to be available in our library of videos. If you check out our playlist of all the Next Fest game, all of those will be on there in order from when we played them. Otherwise, yeah, this was good. We're really looking forward to certain games. I know a few of these games we're definitely going to play on stream. A couple of them we're going to play in co-op. And do you have any final thoughts on the Next Fest?
I can't wait for the next one. That's like I said, it's a very fun time. Can't wait to see what's coming out.
Agreed. That's it for us here at Mildly Irritated. If you have any game suggestions that you want to see us play, feel free to drop them down below. Let us know what you thought of Next Fest, if you got to play any of the games and the demos that were out there, or if you saw any really good content. Let us know down below. Otherwise, I've been MILKnEGGs. That's DocToboggan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.